On this episode of Motor MythBusters,
Okay, everybody, let's just take a moment.
can the team bring a prehistoric cartoon car to life?
This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
And they're rolling back the clock
It was in the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
on a classic automotive movie myth.
People are like, what are these idiots doing?
Meet the team.
There's a potential that I could get electrocuted.
With the mechanical expertise
More oxygen, more fuel. That makes more power.
to test all things automotive.
It's almost like surgery. If I make a mistake, we'll blow up the engine.
This is Motor MythBusters,
This is our job!
where science meets the streets.
Now, when I was a kid, I drove across the country with my parents to the Grand Canyon, and we stopped at this Flintstones amusement park.
Oh, wow.
It was the weirdest thing. You walk in, and it's like you're in the cartoon, but it was like super creepy because
Oh my God.
it was just me and my sister. The place was empty. They had actually fabricated a Flintstones car.
Wow.
We got in, tried to push it, but it was, a prop. It wasn't going anywhere. But ever since then, I was like, someday I want to build that Flintstone car and see if it would work. That's what we're going to be testing in this myth. Do you remember that cartoon? But it might be before your time.
I don't think I've ever seen it, but some pictures are like ringing true in my mind. All right, so just carry on.
It was the first animated sitcom. It beat The Simpsons by like 30 years. And it was basically set in the prehistoric times. You had cavemen, cave women.
And it was a prehistoric fantasy land, but was infused with tons of modern technology that couldn't have existed at the time.
Okay, so according to the cartoon, the Flintstones car was made of two giant stone roller wheels, a tree trunk chassis, and a convertible canopy. That's a heck of a lot of mass. The first part of this myth is to test if a heavyweight vehicle can overcome friction and inertia using foot power. And if it does move, the second part is to see if a rock-wheeled vehicle can handle running at the highway speed shown in the cartoon series.
Fred was a really big guy. He was the biggest character in the entire series. He had to be at least 6 foot tall.
All right, well, let's figure out how big we're going to make this thing.
Yeah.
And we're gonna sort of base it on the idea of Fred being,
Being
6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm guessing the diameter will be about 2 feet.
So then it would have to be about 10 feet long.
All right, so it looks like in the cartoon, the wheels are made of stone.
Time out. With stone, it's gonna be ridiculously heavy, and then the rolling resistance will be off the scales.
Getting it moving and stopping is going to be huge challenges.
Fred used his feet to accelerate the vehicle and stop it. That's bananas.
Was he barefoot?
He was
Yeah.
barefoot. He had no foot protection whatsoever.
But he
How's
had
that
massive
possible?
feet.
Okay.
So that's a lot of surface area.
And speaking of rolling resistance, I'm not seeing any bearings right here.
Yeah, and-
That looks like wood on wood. Isn't that how they made fires back in the day?
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Is there steering?
But maybe in the cartoon, it doesn't look like there's much to make it
but it's-
steer.
Ooh, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah. I think this is going to be something for all of us to try to drive, because I don't think one of us alone is going to be able to get this car to move.
What do you say? Shall we, yabba dabba do this?
I thought you said you haven't seen the cartoon.
A little research, you guys.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Before we can road test our foot power and see if this thing will actually move, we need to build it. So Tory sourced some prehistoric materials.
Oh my goodness.
I got the perfect material for the wheels.
Material for the wheels?
Limestone.
Okay.
Okay.
It's going to be perfect because it's going to be soft enough where I can actually, carve it into the shape that we need.
Right.
But it's going to be durable enough that we can use it as wheels.
Oh, all right, sure.
So I'm going to reinvent the wheel here.
Literally.
Fair enough. All right, what's up with these?
The crystals?
Oh.
These are actually my tools. I'm going to use the quartz because it's going to be hard enough. I mean, I figured back in prehistoric times, they would have had primitive tools.
Right.
So the quartz would, I could use them as chisels to carve my shape. What do you think? Keeping with the prehistoric materials?
I feel what you're trying to do, but that looks like a lot of work.
We got to be purists.
And also, I don't know, you might put some bad juju into the environment with these.
Are you feeling the energy on those?
I'm feeling the energy. This is not gonna work. Too much work for Tory.
No, this is gonna be awesome.
Okay.
So right now I'm just gonna do like a test just to see if I can cut a wheel shape and see if we can get going on this Flintstone
I like your
vehicle.
vision.
Oh, this is gonna be so awesome.
Oh, that poor crystal.
Poor Tory. Tory, you have your work cut out for you over here. It's gonna take him years to get that going. It's gonna be there forever.
All right, so it's taken him a while. We don't have a freaking month here, and I don't know if I can find a piece of limestone that big.
I hear you, and we need to work smarter, not harder.
That's true.
I think we should consider using concrete as an analog for limestone.
That's
And
actually a really good idea because
Why,
we can
thank
mold it
you.
in whatever shape we want to.
Very
We're not
true.
gonna spend all day, like, shaping this thing with our hammers.
And if we do something simple like a mold, we can get toward hardness that's very similar to that of Tory's limestone.
Wheels are, what, 24 inches?
So maybe a 24 by 24 would be ideal.
Yeah.
But our Tory, ever the purist, isn't giving up without a stone-aged fight.
So I went back and watched the old Flintstones cartoons, and it turns out they had modern tools. So forget the old stuff. I'm going with modern technology. Much better.
Just in case Tory's whittling approach doesn't work out, we're preparing for Plan B.
Beautiful.
How's that look there?
Looks great.
Starting with a small-scale test to compare the strength, density, and durability of limestone and concrete.
Oh, yeah, this is perfect. All right, so one of the hardness tests that we're gonna be performing requires a really smooth surface on our concrete. I mean, smooth as silk.
Well, at this point, all we have to do is wait.
Killer.
What is that noise?
Oh my God!
Heck?
What do you think?
Oh my God!
What the heck?
It's my Flintstone scooter.
I
Okay.
could feel that in the ground.
That's actually pretty
crazy.
sweet.
Oh,
I just wanted
hey,
to.
those are your wheels.
These are my wheels. I just wanted to do a
job.
proof of concept, but it took way too long. So I think I'm gonna scrap the whole limestone wheels for the Flintstone car.
We might have predicted that would be the outcome
Yeah.
of your venture there. So
I was trying to be a purist.
we've got concrete in here. We're gonna just do some tests to make sure that this is gonna be similar hardness,
Right.
similar weight.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Perfect.
So now that this test block of concrete is finally cured, I can actually start performing some tests, and I'm gonna start with the Mohs scale of hardness test. This is just gonna give me a good baseline of comparison.
All right, limestone is first up. This simple test, using tools scaled from 1 to 10, increasing in hardness, is used by field geologists to measure and compare the surface resistance of rocks and minerals.
Okay, very obvious to me that I'm scratching the limestone with the 4. Now I'm gonna use that exact same procedure on the concrete. This is a very definitive 4.
So the surface hardness is just about the same, but how will they compare under compression?
So the next test that I'm gonna be performing is the compressive strength of both of these materials with the Schmitz hammer. This is actually a pretty sweet tool. I'm stoked on this one. And there's a ram inside of here that's gonna be reverberating this little piece off of our surface, and it's gonna measure the rebound strength.
That penetration resistance will tell us if either of these materials are likely to crumble under the weight of our vehicle.
All right. So I was expecting these numbers to be a little bit more different, but they're really not.
All right, our concrete mix matches the limestone perfectly and will totally give us consistent results for our full-scale test.
Look at that. Oh my goodness.
So right now what we're doing is we're setting up for the build of our wheel. So we have construction tubes, they're cardboard tubings, one for the axle and then one for the actual wheel. I just want to check and see if this is going to be big enough. We're gonna set that up, glue it to the plexiglass. Once the glue has set up, then we're gonna pour concrete into the tube, which will then create our wheels. Yeah, that'll work. The axle holes are integral to the build, and ultimately, the Myth's outcome. If centered and aligned with the chassis, the wheels will rotate smoothly around the axle.
Nice, nice.
If they're even slightly off kilter, the wheels will skew and grind our axle to a halt. We are set.
Whoa.
Our concrete mold is ready to pour. Awesome. Oh my God, this is gonna save us a ton of headaches.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Nice, nice, nice.
Okay.
We really needed to center the axle,
you guys made it real tight. That's good. This is good. You guys are very thorough. Okay. It'll take 16 90-pound bags of concrete to fill each wheel. And once we add water, we're talking about 1,600 pounds of pressure dumped squarely on the axle hole.
Right now, we've got to be really careful with how our concrete gets in there, doesn't offset our axle. Have you guys verified that it actually hits the hole in the perfect center?
I think it's perfect.
Oh, no, it's gonna hit the top.
No, it's perfect.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
You might want to verify it's perfect before you strap it down.
No, that's good. Look.
No.
Yeah, it's a perfect
Look at the top.
Yeah, I know, but it's not going any farther.
Okay.
Look. Ta-da!
I gotta trust these guys, I guess. All right, okay, fine.
All right, that should be good. Easy.
Don't dump it on me. Now, we also gotta make sure that we pour it nice and slow so that
Sorry,
our axle doesn't move.
I was just trying to get it to release from the barrel. My bad. Do you want to start vibrating the concrete? It'll get rid of all the air bubbles. That's going to help the aggregate pack tight, so it's more dense and durable. All right, this may be the last pour, and then we will have our prehistoric wheel set.
Number one. I'm gonna spin it towards you.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Even distribution, I like it. Okay.
It's looking pretty spot on, Tory.
Yeah, okay. Well, that was hard, but we got the mold filled with concrete. We got our first wheel.
One down, one more to go.
Yeah. Whose idea was this?
I'm gonna wear a tarp next time.
The next stage of our build is the log chassis. We've sourced some locally fallen trees to match the specs of the original Flintmobile and provide support for our massive concrete wheels. Oh, my back! These two pieces here will be our outside chassis.
Sounds good.
Right? And that way we can keep the roundness of the log so that it'll look more like the Flintstone car. Is this the first wood car you've ever made?
Yes, it is. For some odd reason, I feel that it's gonna be much more difficult than any aluminum or steel-based vehicle I've ever built. Now we have the template done. In the eloquent words of Faye, let's yabba dabba do this.
So the Flintstone car is coming together beautifully. We have the two main pieces of the chassis shaped. Now we gotta cut holes for our axles, and then we have to put the two pieces together. I'm gonna use big, sturdy beams to connect the two because this thing has to be strong. Remember, the wheels are made of concrete.
All that weight is gonna be sitting on 4 points where the axles come out of the wheels. That's a lot of weight on our axles.
That's a lot of stress.
Now, our axles are a little bit over 5 inches in diameter, so I have a 6-inch hole cutter. We're gonna drill a pilot hole, cut our hole, and then we can put our wheels on.
This could be disastrous if Tory drills a hole and we go sideways.
It's already gonna be a challenge to get this thing to move. Us screwing up is not gonna help.
No, not at all.
This stupid thing better roll. That's all I gotta say.
I hear you. I'll be so vexed if it doesn't. Something really bad happened to me not too long ago.
What?
I bought this car, and it had 50,000 miles. The paint looked great, interior was beautiful.
And what was the problem?
I found out it had 350,000 miles.
So they rolled back the odometer 300,000 miles?
Yep. And around the world, people lose millions of dollars a year to Odometer fraud.
Huh.
So I had to figure out, okay, how do they do this? So I put this contraption together, and as you said, go forward, right?
Yeah.
And it's counting, it's going upwards, yeah?
Right.
But I go backwards.
It's not going in reverse.
It's not, so
No.
how did they do it?
I don't know. What do you think? I don't think it's...
I don't think it's possible.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we get a bunch of different cars, put them in reverse, let them run, and
Okay.
see if the odometer rolls back.
That may be a good myth, actually. Can we turn back miles by going in reverse on a car?
Well, here's a classic myth. Want to shave some miles off your car? Simple. Drive it in reverse.
I mean, it's so much in our culture that it was in the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where they had a bunch of miles on their car and they thought, let's put it in reverse and we'll get those miles back.
It's a classic caper, but we chose not to buy the clip. And Ferris Bueller's Payoff covered the cost of an 80s Caddy with mechanical odometer and a Honda Hybrid with digital readout.
This 85 vehicle here and this newer 2011 Hybrid, I think we should jack it up, get the drive wheels off the floor, drive it in reverse.
We'll put a brake on the gas pedal and let them run.
Oh, no, I don't want to do the brake thing.
I think that's a great idea. All right, so we have all the odometers recorded. I say we just start up the cars, put them in reverse, let them run.
How long are you thinking?
Half hour.
Sounds good.
All right, are we sure that these are front-wheel drive?
We'll find out in a second, won't we? That's hauling. That thing is fast. I'm gonna go into CRZ.
Cool. All right, let's start a timer.
Yes.
Half hour. All right.
I'm curious about the Cadillac. Oh,
Wait a minute. It's
oh,
going
it's counting
forward.
upwards.
Even in
Oh,
reverse.
that's crazy.
The numbers are going up.
That's pretty clever, though.
That is.
That's smart of the manufacturer to do that. So no matter what you do, it's actually covering distance.
Yeah, even if you're
Forward
going
or backwards,
forward or
it's covering.
backwards, it's clocking. All right, how's this one doing?
It's going upwards. Yeah.
Okay.
It's going up.
All right.
Same thing. So these modern cars,
They figured out how not to cheat the odometer.
so it's actually, whether it's going forward or backwards, it's increasing mileage on the car.
Right. If you were trying to shave miles off your odometer, the modern day cars are not going to allow you to do that.
Yes, sir.
Yep, it's pretty clear. Based on the comparative tests between an 80s analog system and a 2011 digital odometer, driving a modern car in reverse won't wind the clock back. So Tory and Bisi are going to look for older vehicles that might be reverse-winding clock contenders.
Well, Bisi, I mean, I guess the good news is odometer fraud is a lot harder to do than you would think. You can't just throw the car into reverse and start shaving miles off your odometer.
But fraudsters are still finding ways to wind back odometers. What a shame. Not to mention highly illegal. You know, every day millions of people drive their cars and they look at their gauges, they see the speedometer, the odometer go up.
Right.
And they have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. So this is a perfect representation
So we've broke
of
it
what's
down.
in the car.
And this is a transmission out of
is
an
correct.
old van.
That is correct.
All right, and so now right here, this is the cable that's connected to the odometer.
Yes, and there's a reed wire that goes all the way to the odometer.
Yeah.
And as it spins some assemblies inside the gauge cluster as well.
So as this is rotating, it's actually spinning this cable, and that's turning our odometer.
Yes, it does.
You know what is shocking to me is the fact that they're using plastic gears.
to spin that cable.
You know, forces are not exerted on those gears, and it's much more cost-effective for the manufacturers to use such components.
Yeah, I just feel like something as important as knowing the miles on your engine. A gear like that, I feel like if it, broke a tooth, now you're gonna start skipping miles.
It's really robust, but tell you what, when I build your car, I'll use titanium. How's that?
I feel better already. All right,
good.
go ahead and hit the gas.
Allow me to demonstrate.
Hit the accelerator.
Sounds good. The gas.
All right, so that's the transmission is just spinning, and that's spinning this gear. And inside here, there's a cable that's spinning and attached to the odometer.
You see the miles moving up.
All right, well, why don't we see if we can actually break into an odometer and roll back the numbers?
Remember these words, folks. It's illegal to roll back your odometer.
So there's basically two types of odometers, digital and mechanical.
I want to explore the electrical side of things.
Okay, and I'll look at the mechanical.
Sounds good.
So what I have right here is a mechanical odometer from the 1980s. And I have the cable attached to a drill just so you could see the mileage increase.
Now, as I'm spinning the cable, it's recording those miles. Now, the top part, that is the trip mileage. Down at the bottom is the mileage of the overall life of the engine. So right now, I have 322 miles on this odometer. So what I'm gonna do is see if I can open this up and figure out a way to roll that 322 miles back to zero. I mean, obviously, you're probably thinking, why don't you just put it in reverse and make it go backwards? Well, if I do that, you can see what's happening here. That little lever, as it's rolling forward, it's pushing this gear forward. But when you go in reverse, that arm lifts up. It uses a gear-free wheeling ratchet that rotates and spins the counter up when going forwards and idles when going backwards, just like a bike does. Pedal going forward, freewheel when not pedaling. One other thing you can look for to know if your odometer has been tampered with is if you pop this gear off, the numbers will never line up completely. All right, as you can see, I've got it back to zero. Now I'm just gonna put the odometer back together and see if we can detect whether or not I've been tampering with this. Now that it's back together, let's just do a test.
So while Tory is investigating the mechanical odometer, I'm going to use this specialty tool to look at how easy or challenging it would be to modify a digital dash display. How does a digital odometer work? In place of a mechanical drive cable, a magnetic sensor tracks the number of gear turns in the transmission. Then it is conducted by wires to the onboard car computer, which interprets and converts the information into a mileage count. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to change the mileage on this vehicle. This tool is actually a professional tool that allows for odometer calibration in the event that you may have an odometer that went out and you need to correct it, or you had a vehicle that had a discrepancy and you want to get it back to the original format. What's interesting is that this particular device only allows for kilometer measurement. So I'm going to convert my mileage to kilometers and have the opportunity to put this back when I'm done. So we're now at 106,264 miles. Let's knock off a good 30,000 off this. So 70,000 miles. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in. There we go. Enter. There's a bunch of checkered lights coming on, some flashing of the dash itself, and now it says my adjustment is complete. And look, it gave me 69,615 miles, so it's slightly off. So now let's put it back to its original mileage. Okay. This is a professional device. Not everyone can get access to it, but where there's a will, there's a way, because unscrupulous characters can actually change your mileage. So what could we do to prevent you from getting a vehicle that has been tampered with? Well, vehicle history reports are one good place because every time a vehicle is serviced or registered, that number is put into the system. Wear items like the pedals. Do you have a low mileage car that shouldn't have any pedal wear whatsoever, but the pedals look like it's been stomped on for hours and hours and hours? That's a dead giveaway. The headliner, are there rips and tears there? How easy is it to bring down the visor? It doesn't have that nice tautness to it. Check the manufacturer date on the tires. Does it match the mileage of the car, or have the tires already been replaced when the car has very low mileage? There's so many ways to look at that. And yeah, protect yourself.
So how did your experience go with the digital odometer?
Tell me about yours first.
Oh, man. So it was unsettling how easy it was to pull this thing apart. And then I was actually able to roll it back to 0. And I put it back together, and I thought, this is like too simple. I mean, we're basically showing people how to change an odometer. However, watch what happens after I put it all back together.
Tory is going up in 1,000 miles, not 1 mile.
Exactly. So this was a little comforting to realize that, you know, it's not that easy to break into a mechanical odometer and change the number. So this did give me a little bit of comfort.
Well, in my experiment, with the correct tool, it was frighteningly easy.
Really?
You just plugged it in.
That's not good.
Selected some menus, put in the mileage you want, and presto. Unfortunately, it seems there aren't really any cars with tamper-proof digital odometers.
And that was it?
That was it.
Oh, that's terrifying.
It is. So it's important for consumers to do due diligence and look around the vehicle. Look at more than just the mileage to determine the age of their car.
But this myth's not quite done and dusted. Remember the '86 Cadillac on blocks? In the '80s, cars would only wind their odometer forward, as Tory has found where a ratchet system prevented the clock from getting wound back.
I can't believe the producer's letting us drive his car. Backwards, no less. I guess you want to drive.
Yes, I do.
All right, let's go. It's like some 70s cop show. Hit it. There's a crime in progress. Oh. Feel that rumble?
Yes.
Yeah. He's very concerned about us. We'll be fine. Don't worry.
I don't need a guide to get out of a garage.
BC drives backwards all the time.
Yep.
He's super protective of his car. You look nervous.
Go easy on her. She's old. And, you know, there's parts that, you know, might break because she's old. So let's take it real nice and easy, okay, guys?
Of course.
What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing at all.
We're driving backwards. How fast are we gonna be able to go?
Well, you'd be surprised in this old beaut.
All right.
I'm gonna take off. He's talking too much.
Look at him, he's so concerned. All right, you ready to see if this thing rolls back? I mean, I can't, I'm having a hard time believing that.
Well, we'll find out now. There we go. You ready?
Okay. All right.
Go.
So right now, we are at 96,486.9 miles.
Barely broken in.
I mean, this could work, but I mean, what a pain in the butt.
I know. Is it even
Like,
worth doing this?
This would be
for miles and miles and
This
miles.
would be so annoying.
The amount of money we're gonna spend on fuel doing this
Right.
with this V8, it won't even be worth
No.
the advantage of the price. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, he moved back.
Right now, we are at,
Oh, it's moving quite a bit.
like, how many times have we gone around this block?
Quite a bit.
Yeah, this is not.
It is done an efficient way.
Well, let's see. We've been driving, I would say, about 15 minutes.
and we probably consumed 8 gallons of fuel doing it.
Yeah, does not seem like the most efficient way to get miles off your vehicle.
Not at all.
We didn't hit anything.
Yeah, she's in good hands.
Everything went well.
Yeah?
She runs like a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Smells like one, too.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Everything's fine?
Yeah,
Everything's
it's
fine.
actually, we've shaved a couple of miles off your odometer.
Yeah.
So these pre-70s old-timers will wind the clock back in reverse. In the GTO, the fixed gear system with no free wheel cassette means the odometer is mechanically connected directly to the drive shaft. Reverse and 1 mile traveled means 1 mile off the clock. And then that cable drive was universally replaced by the 80s. Electromagnetic sensors count each drive shaft rotation as additional mileage. Forward or back, the miles go up. All right, BC, when we drove that GTO in reverse, we were actually able to shave miles off the engine. So, how are we gonna call this myth?
Well, we did test vehicles from the 80s and then 2000s, and it seems like going backwards didn't make the numbers go down. It's painfully obvious that manufacturers went out of their way to make odometers a lot more sophisticated.
All right, so cars made after the 80s, it's not gonna work so much.
However, old school cars from the 60s, like the GTO, can. So I think we're gonna have to call this one plausible.
I agree. Plausible it is.
Sounds good to me.
While Bisi and Tory get the chassis in shape, I'm turning my attention to the mechanics we need to get this thing rolling once it's all assembled.
I still foresee a problem with the axle setup. Now, obviously, on a typical car, you have like an axle that goes into a hub. What's in the hub? A frickin' bearing. A low rolling resistance bearing that allows the car to move forward smoothly without causing excessive friction and heat. We've got a problematic situation here, which is like the wood on the concrete. So I've got to come up with a solution for that. You know, ancient peoples have been using leather for quite some time, and in place of our wheel bearing grease, I've got some lard. All right. The way that I'm installing this is with the nice, smooth, chamfered surface, so that as the wheel rolls forward around the axle, it's just gonna smoothly go over that lip, as the hope at least. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the lard. Ah, I actually think this is gonna work awesome, now that I'm feeling it. Oh, wow, I actually think that's making a difference. Well, let's see, I haven't put the bearings in the other one yet, so side-by-side comparison. Oh, a lot of friction going on.
Wow.
BC, what are you doing?
You know,
What are you doing?
I'm experimenting to see what Fred did, if I can mimic that.
I came out here, I see BC, he's like taking his shoes off, and I'm like, what the heck is this guy thinking? But he brings up a really good point. Fred Flintstone wasn't wearing any shoes. So for us to actually get this to work, we have to do this bare feet.
Yeah,
Try
but
leaning forward a little bit,
Yeah,
you might get a little bit more leverage.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, there you
But-
go. No, that's good.
I didn't get much up to speed, didn't have good adhesion to the tarmac.
And they just went,
Yeah, just like,
yeah.
But I don't have much traction.
Okay. You know what we should also test? This is a braking system.
No, stop,
Okay,
stop.
brake.
No, I'm not, ow, no, No, absolutely refused to use my bare foot to stop. He must have had calluses this thick, but with this, with the toe shoes, see?
Look at that. You're feeling
look at that
better.
traction.
Look, I like his approach. He used those little weird toe shoes.
And with a little help from Tory's push start, not only was I able to get up to speed, I can see that we need a solid leverage point to help overcome the rolling resistance. And brake. All right, brake. I was able to stop properly.
Hey,
That wasn't bad.
that worked better than I thought it was.
This is the way to go. This is much better than going barefoot. I'm definitely not doing that again.
Yeah. You know what, though? I was watching the cartoons, and it got me inspired.
Oh.
I got an idea for myself.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Fred's feet are ridiculously large, and I think that could be the secret power we need to drive the Flipmobile. So I got some clay. I'm gonna sculpt a foot, make a mold, pour it in rubber, and then I'll have some ridiculous Fred Flintstone feet. This is gonna be hilarious. By molding a pair of feet to match the girth of Fred's, I'm increasing the surface area. Yeah, I'm gonna have the worst case of bunions, but I'm hoping to increase traction for acceleration and braking. I've been sculpting since I was a kid. And then, when I was working in special effects, we did a lot of sculpting in clay, making molds for body parts. And I did a little research, watched some of the cartoon, and it turns out Fred only has 3 toes on his feet. So I don't know if that was like some evolutionary thing, or maybe the cartoonists were just lazy and only wanted to draw 3 toes instead of 5. So it's been an hour since I poured the foam. It's the moment of truth. Let's see how our Flintstone foot turned out. Oh, yeah. Oh. And there you have it, a Flintstone foot. I got so much foot power right now. 1 down, 1 to go.
Take it nice and slow.
Now it's time for final assembly before the Flintstones car can make its debut on the street.
Keep going. Right there.
These concrete wheels must stay in the molded tubing for protection until our maiden voyage.
Look at this for a second.
It's awesome.
It's coming together.
Oh my goodness.
But the chassis and the axles need to be pre-assembled and the wheels aligned.
In the cartoon, it looks like it has like 2 rows of seats.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
the back
they carry
row
people.
and the front row.
Yeah, it was a prehistoric sedan.
In the cartoon, the illustrators occasionally adjusted the car to suit a scene. It could be a 2-seater, or sometimes it carried 6 passengers and a dinosaur. For our test, we'll all sit up front to maximize the available foot power. And we're gonna have a steering wheel and a dash, so we'll have something to push off on. Right?
I think we need to go a little more further back.
Yeah, let's try it.
Oh.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Set, go.
Oh, that's better. Oh, yeah. This is goat rawhide.
It's almost like tape creating that nice
Yeah, that's
bond.
pretty good.
I keep worrying about, like, the angles need to be perfect. The symmetry needs to be perfect. No, it doesn't. It's a Flintstone car.
There weren't any steering or electrical components to house way back in 10,000 BC.
And although we're only testing the car's ability to run in a straight line, our dashboard still has an important job. Now, it's not just aesthetic. This one actually has to be structurally strong because we're gonna be pushing all of our force on it to get the car moving. If this thing's weak, this thing could just break forward and we're not going anywhere.
Okay, get over here.
This epic challenge has been centuries in the making.
Nice.
A classic cartoon caper.
That's good.
From Tory's childhood visit to that creepy amusement park to this, a full-scale 2-ton Flintstones car with working wooden axles and burlap sunshade.
Childhood memories are just flooding in right now. So let's cut the cardboard tubes off.
Yes.
Is the Flintmobile a plausible possibility or a glorified prop?
Ooh, here it is in its glory.
Tory, it looks amazing. Look at this thing.
We did it. We did it.
Well, we can't forget this.
Oh, that looks good.
Oh,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Well done.
I like it.
You guys, this is just, like, it turned out way better than I imagined.
Faye, the canopy is wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
And your little rear window, I mean, it matches the cartoon perfectly.
All right, so we actually gonna put this thing to the test?
Yeah.
Before we do drive it, we have a surprise.
Yeah, it might make it easier for us to get this thing moving. What do you think?
Are those to scale?
Pretty much. After watching him experiment with those ridiculous shoes, it gave me inspiration. And I thought, hey, what if I made actual giant Flintstone feet? It would give us more surface area, and maybe help us move this vehicle. Who wants to drive?
Well, you can drive since this was your childhood dream.
Yeah, thank you.
For myth part 1, the guys will attempt to overcome the friction and inertia of that 2-ton Stone-aged vehicle using foot power.
All right, you guys ready to test this? I'm gonna count it down. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my God.
Okay, now do I say I told you so?
Maybe let's rock it. Let's see if we can get momentum going.
Okay.
2.
We're moving.
We'll be at,
okay.
Oh, look at it, it's working.
Oh, it's moving.
We'll be at work in no time.
I get my butt up the seat.
Yeah. All right, let's try standing.
All right, hold on.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Now we're up to speed.
All right, ready, sit. Look at it, it's perfect. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Oh no!
Oh no, my big feet are getting in the way.
Oh my God.
Stupid feet.
We have to do momentum. Let's try it. That's a good workout.
Maybe the cavemen were in much better shape. I'm gonna swap out these big, ridiculous feet because they're literally just getting caught up in the wheel works. You know what we need is like the U.S. bobsledding team to help us push this. 3, 2, 1.
What's up?
We got this. We need a downhill road.
Yeah, we do.
It'd be so much easier if we were going downhill.
You know, this is not an efficient means of transportation at
This is
all.
not efficient means of transportation.
It's a great form of exercise. By the time we get to work, we'll be ripped.
Okay.
All right, let's coast. Isn't that nice?
Oh, I feel that.
A few seconds of coasting.
Oh.
That was heaven.
Faye, do you feel that burn? My legs
Yes,
are...
my quads.
Yeah.
They feel like they're on fire.
Okay.
We should have picked a better route to work.
Yeah. We should have chosen one that was all downhill.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. So, what do you think?
Well,
I think,
we did cover some good distance.
yeah, and I feel like we have proven that you can get it started just by feet and stopping it just by feet, but we, didn't come anywhere near like road speeds.
I couldn't drive this to the office.
Yeah. What do you think, Faye? You still doubting this vehicle?
Is that really a question right now?
If we were to get it up to speed, would this vehicle even hold together?
Oh my God. Faye, he has that look in his eyes again.
You bet I do, Bisi. Time to test the second part of the myth. Let's see if this beast holds together at bedrock highway speeds. Once we have this hooked up, we'll back a truck up, hook that up, and then we're going for a ride.
Fred's a pretty big cartoon dude. I figure he can get to a max running speed of, let's say, at least 25 miles an hour.
That's a lot of friction for our leather and lard bearings. I hope they hold up.
All right, say hello to our cave busters. Since this is too dangerous for us to ride in, we're gonna have our busters driving. This just got like 100% weirder.
There!
We good? All right, so we have our towing hitch attached to our Flintstone car. We're gonna drive down the road and see if this vehicle will even hold up under those types of speeds.
I'm smiling because I think the undulations in the road are gonna destroy this thing, but we'll see what happens. We'll see.
Do we place bets?
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay, everybody, let's just take a moment and just realize this is an historic moment. This is the first time this car has ever driven like this in 30,000 years. She's holding together. What speed are we at?
7 miles an hour.
We're looking good.
Look at
10 miles an hour.
like throwing up debris.
Yeah! This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
15.
What's that back feel?
This thing's back.
apart. Look at that wheel.
Slow down, slow down. Let's stop and take a look at what happened. So, this thing was bouncing around.
Okay.
What did you get up
15.
to? 15.
Oh, we lost our backseat driver.
Oh.
That's the problem.
Maybe that's what
That was
happened.
the problem.
Because
So,
this thing was bouncing around like
yeah, because we lost one of our
crazy.
busters.
So our backseat driver got dislodged and got actually stuck underneath the back wheel. And that's when the back end of the car started
Sorry,
bouncing.
Buster.
So we're gonna remove him and go for another test. It's working!
This is it. We're going for the running road speed of 25 miles per hour, just like Fred in the cartoon.
All right, Bisi. How fast you going?
5 miles an hour. 10 miles an hour.
Oh my God, look at the back axles.
Yeah, it's... Oh, the pin's about to come out. The pin's about to come out on this side.
17 miles an hour.
Little pieces of debris are coming off the wheel. What did we get to?
It was too much.
All right, why don't you go ahead and stop it? We'll take a look. Giant chunks of concrete were coming off the back of the wheel.
I saw that, and that's why I pulled back a bit. I had to stop because I felt immediate instability and...
That pin flew off.
Oh my God!
no.
We split the wheel.
Oh my God.
No
Oh,
wonder.
That's
Oh.
awesome. This makes me so happy. What did we get up to?
18 miles an hour.
And all you need is a straight commute to work.
Yeah, you're
and
good
you're
to
good to go. That was so much fun. I can't believe we built the Flintstone car, and it was better than the one I saw when I was a kid in Arizona.
Yeah, this was no prop.
No one's as surprised as I am. I did not expect that thing to roll at all.
And your bearings, they work perfectly.
So what do we think?
Well, I feel like the first part of this myth is plausible. We were able to start it with our feet and stop it, and we got the vehicle to roll.
Yes, I agree. However, the second part is totally busted. There's no way that it's practical to run this thing on the highway.
I agree. When we got that thing up to speed, it pretty much self-destructed.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I don't know about you guys, though. This was a childhood dream come true.
Would you say? Yabba dabba did it?
Oh.
You win.
The feet of shame.